Yeah, hi. I would like to tell today about our trip to Portugal. So we just arrived a few days ago, and now we are here, and I would like to talk a bit about that, and would like to start with that. So here you see a map of Portugal with a focus on Lisbon. And all of us started our trip in Lisbon, and just a few days before the trip, we booked our flight, very spontaneous, how we do it all the time. We just paid 200 euros, was very, very nice, and we could order it just a few days before. And we had a very nice flat in Portugal that we can definitely recommend. You see it over there, with a nice view on the old city. We lived directly in the old city in Portugal. The host was also very great, so really a recommendable flat. We were in several cafes and bars, and here you see one picture, me in front of the old town. It was a wonderful cafe. We had nice port wine. It's in an old theater, also nice place. And we were in several bars. So I think most of the time we were in bars or cafes. And we checked in, for example, in this cafe. Also, if you want to go to Portugal, please go there. Nice green wine. In the evening, we had nice jazz music, a live concert. And then after a few days in Lisbon, we read something online, at Spiegel Online, which was about a city close by called Sintra, close to Lisbon. And in this article, Sintra was mentioned as the Schloss Neuschwanstein, or that they have the Schloss Neuschwanstein of Portugal. And that sounded so interesting. And when we read at Yelp that many people gave 5 stars and recommended this place, we decided, okay, let's go there. So here you see the trek from Lisbon to Sintra. And we needed the car to go there, so we rented the car also, again, very spontaneous. And we chose the cheapest version, which was an SUV. So we had to go with the SUV to Sintra, and we can definitely say if you want to go to Sintra, don't use an SUV. So the streets are very small, and you will have a lot of trouble when you go there with an SUV. And on the way, like we do it all the time, we tweeted a lot, we wrote something on Facebook so that all our friends and followers know what we are doing. So in the end, after our holiday, we can say we were broke. So this happens most of the time when we three together are on holiday. This is not the original price because, as said, it was just a few days ago, so we will see how much it was, but it was definitely more. So maybe you now ask yourself, why are these guys talking about their holiday? And here's why. Here on the bill, you see concrete deals. You see, we had a flight from Berlin to Lisbon for a few hundred euros, a hotel for a few hundred euros. I knew what I paid, and I knew what I got for it. But as you saw earlier, we also used all the other tools and systems which made our trip so spontaneous and flexible, like Instagram or Twitter, when we posted something, or when we booked our flight via Airbnb. But what was the price for that? Obviously, no money. So we can tell you what we paid for all that was data. So data, this abstract term that we now hear all the time, but what is it? I would say data is more or less everything. So, for example, my name, my birth date, the name of my girlfriend, maybe an email that I write to my boss, or a phone call recorded that I had to my mother, or maybe some machine data that is created and logged by a machine. Also this click when I do it here, maybe it's logged somewhere on the PC, and that is also data. And this data is real money. So we pay all the time with our data, which is, we would say, a new currency that we use all the time, but we do not know where we use it and for what we use it and who gets it. So here's one example to make it a bit more concrete. This am I. And I want to play a game, a social game, a Facebook game, for example. And to play that, I have to pay with my data because I have to log in, I have to accept that the provider of the game has access to my messages, to my photos, to a lot of data, personal data, that belongs to me. And I think, oh, okay, I accept it. and maybe they use it for the purpose of playing the game. But what often happens after I gave the data to the provider is that this data is then used from someone else, or for different purposes, for other purposes that I thought they would use it. So in the end, we have this question of what is the real value of my data? I do not know what is it that I really pay and who gets it and for what does this person use it? And this is a question that we asked months ago when we had a lot of discussions. All of us are very close to this topic of data because Manuel and Maxi work in an agency in Hamburg at Jung von Matt in a digital creative team, and I work as a data scientist for the Unbelievable Machine Company in Berlin. So all of us are very close to this topic. And we wanted specifically to know what happens if you really get something for your data. So if you get something physically that you know from the money world, if you get something instantly, face to face, are the people then still willing to buy? Or will they then be a bit more skeptical and think about if they want to give their data to someone else? And that was an experiment that we started, and we called it the Datenmarkt. Yep. Okay. A few seconds, please.
Welcome to the Datenmarkt. With our art project, we try to look at the fact if people really are willing to pay with their data. In the Datenmarkt, which was an art experiment, as we call it, we were really establishing the first supermarket where people could shop with their personal data. So that means money had no value. Not credit cards, not even debit cards or cash, of course, obviously. The only currency we accepted was the Facebook data. And we used Facebook as a placeholder for all the other data that's out there. Flo just mentioned it. There is lots of things we pay with in everyday life. For example, a Butni card is something as well where we give away our data. But we selected Facebook because, obviously, lots of people use it, and they have a lot of data online, obviously. So we could use that and visualize it. So to give you a better impression about the data market, or the Datenmarkt, we would like to show you a short video which we shot during the 1 week it was open for.
Lieber Kunde, heute bei uns im Datenmarkt einmal Dosenfrüchte für nur 5 deiner ganz privaten Facebook-Fotos.
Exactly. So I think you kind of got the impression, and I think you now understand how the Datenmarkt worked. What you also saw is that we used all the regular elements of a basic supermarket. For example, the music you heard, that was playing in store all the time. The checkout, we had that as well. Obviously the products and so on. And one big difference was, of course, the price tags. That was the big difference, because our price tags didn't show money prices, but data prices. So for example, one pack of dumplings was priced at 5 Facebook messages. 1 liter of milk was 10 Facebook posts. Butter toast, only 8 Facebook likes, pretty cheap, I have to admit. And the all famous fruits for 5 Facebook photos. So you might now ask yourself, how did it actually work? Did I have to upload photos in store to be able to purchase that? That wasn't the case. It was different. In Datenmarkt, you paid with the Facebook activity of your past. That means once you logged into our iPad app, which we especially programmed for this purpose, you had to hit the connect with Facebook button. And that was the crucial point. Once you did that, you gave us access to all of your Facebook history, and we could look into your Facebook profile. And that's when our app and our system basically did a liquidity check. That means if you have enough data in your account to be able to buy the fruits, that means at least 5 Facebook photos must have been uploaded to be able to purchase that. And if that was the case, a receipt was printed out. You saw that earlier in the video. And on this receipt, you saw all the data that was used to purchase your products. And I think that was a really crucial point and a really good example of visualizing and of making the data graspable. Because normally data is a really intransparent, big term, but here you really saw, okay, I paid with a can of fruits, I paid with those 5 photos. What people didn't know was that our system randomly selected the data. So when they looked at the receipt, some of them were frightened, like, oh my God, like an old picture, they were embarrassed. Or when they bought the dumplings, there was messages printed out, the whole message. And they were like, oh my God, I totally forgot that I wrote that to somebody, years ago maybe. That was exactly the point that we wanted to get into people's heads. By just clicking this one accept or connect with Facebook button, they gave us the permission to look into all of their Facebook history. Things they did years ago, we could look at it. And that was one big thing we wanted to get into their heads, that they should be careful of whom they give the permission to look into their personal data. Also in the beginning, I mentioned that this was an art project or an art experiment. So why didn't we do it in an art gallery, if we call it art? We specifically said we don't want to do it there because obviously in an art gallery people are aware of things being, I'd say, fictional. Let's put it like that. We wanted to catch them off guard. We wanted to have walk-in customers that come by, so we see if they actually are willing to pay for our goods with their personal data. And that's why we selected a shop in Hamburg, in a very frequented shopping area, which was called Anita Haas.
But Anita Haas was not an ordinary shop. It was one of the most exclusive fashion stores in Hamburg, based in one of the poshest areas in Hamburg as well, called Eppendorf. So usually, people would expect very expensive handbags, night dresses for thousands and thousands of euros. But now, they just saw low-budget products. Thousands of low-budget products. Milk, toasts, nothing exclusive anymore. So, the posh clientele of Eppendorf, they were shocked. Oh my goodness, what is happening here? Are they getting crazy now? Shocked views everywhere. very much skepsis in the beginning. But after a while, people got in, and we got our first customers. But people purchased out of several reasons. Some of them purchased because they wanted to be part in this glamorous world of art. Other purchased because they just wanted to have this receipt because they thought it's cool to see my data printed on paper. Others, it's also interesting to see because in the beginning we thought people want to buy the products for the products, but the people bought the products to have a specific data on the receipt in the end. Maybe you can remember the fruits that were 5 photos. They bought the fruits to see the photos on the printout. So, but all of them didn't come for the products. Because in the end, they even returned the products into the shelves because there were no need. And since we were called an art experiment, we really wanted to find out, are people willing to purchase with their data real physical products? Luckily, Germany's biggest private TV channel, RTL, picked up the Datenmarkt and talked about it. And this was the turning point, our story.
Willkommen zurück mit einer Geschichte, die erstmal unglaublich klingt. Eine Packung Toastbrot kostet 8 Likes. 1 Liter Milch, 10 Statusmeldungen, eine Dose Früchte, 5 Facebook-Fotos. In einem Hamburger Supermarkt bezahlen Kunden nicht mit Geld, sondern tatsächlich mit ihren Facebook-Daten. Wir haben unsere Reporterin Sabrina in den Daten-Supermarkt zum Einkaufen geschickt und die zeigt Ihnen jetzt, was hinter dieser neuen Währung steckt.
So, we stop here. Now everything changed. Because now people came from all over Hamburg for the products, people in need. Because she summed it up pretty good. But she didn't mention that this was an art project. So people expected a real supermarket to be placed there. And they were extremely disappointed to see that we just had 4 products, offering 4 products. So they even used the accounts of family members in order to purchase more products. And now we had a complete strange world at Anita Haas. On the one hand side, we had this posh clientele buying all these expensive handbags, and on the other hand, we really had people in need in the same environment, people in need buying a liter milk. But strangely, these two worlds didn't match together because on the one hand side, the rich people could afford the products, but couldn't buy at the Datenmarkt, since so many had no Facebook accounts. Then the families obviously told also the children, and the children came by. And this was also very interesting to see, because they understood everything immediately. It was very simple for them. They went straight to the cash out, typed in their Facebook account, their password, and got the print. No problem. But they missed the most important part, that this was a critical approach about data. They said, oh, that's so cool, it should be everywhere at Saturn, so I can get the new iPad for just 500 likes. They had also no problem to see, no, everybody can see what I'm doing, I have nothing to hide. That we had the future in our hands, or better, on our hard drive, didn't matter for them really much, because imagine we would give these messages to insurance companies or future employees. They didn't mind. But no matter if they were young or if they were old, no matter if they were rich or in need, all of them didn't hesitate at all to type in their Facebook and their password into an external device. Because when we started the Datenmarkt, we were thinking, nobody will do this. We could save it or use it for some other purpose. But then we were reflecting, we are doing it already every day. When we are dialing our 4-digit PIN in an ATM cash machine or in a C machine, or how's that called? So, in the end of the 7 days, we had a big sale. Everything 50% discount. So instead of 8 likes for the toast, we just asked for 4. And this sounds funny, but it was really helpful for us to sell even more, because people talked about it. And in the end, it was a big success. We earned a lot, 700 posts, 540 likes, 220 messages, 240 photos. But we deleted all of them because we had no real purpose keeping them. Now we would like to end our presentation with a tweet that was sent out during the Datenmarkt. Kunst oder Zukunft, art or future. We think we have proven that the Datenmarkt works, but if it's future, sorry, no, one more, we have to cut this out. We have proven that the Datenmarkt works, but if the business will pick it up as a model, only the future will tell us. Thank you very much.